Sure.
And I'm going to, right now, we have just a moment to get ready for the live stream to start.
Okay.
I'm going to check it to see. And we're definitely live. Very good. Okay, Shiny, I'm just going to do a few more clicks here.
Sure.
And yeah, it does show us. Yeah, it shows our avatars in Second Life at BURN2, and we are behind a we are inside of a curtained off, veiled space. The purpose is to keep things um, uh, secret, I guess,
Mysterious.
mysterious.
Mysterious and unknown and build some anticipation.
Right. And I'm sitting with
Yeah.
Shiny. Shiny's been hanging out at BURN2 for quite a while now as a performer and artist. And BURN2 is in Second Life. It's a regional of Burning Man. And, as a performer, we should talk about that too, not only as an artist, but I actually came in world to come and find you. And you had a little chair for me, which was really nice. And I sat down and I thought, is this it? Is this your build? Some
Uh,
pigeons and a
oh,
tent? What? Okay, it's one of those basic ones.
yeah. I mean,
But you said no, 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 no.
we have a big playa. There's a lot happening on the playa. There's still a lot of spaces that are still at the very first steps of their build, or even has everyone claimed them? I still think there's some claiming even going on.
Yeah,
So
we left it open.
there'll be a surge of building from me and many others as we approach inspection, which is an exciting time. Just 3 days from now, and it has both the quality of feeling tight, like oh my god, I got to have everything wrapped up in 3 days, but also that's pretty spacious compared to the last week. Real life sometimes can be demanding, so getting in world and building hasn't been my top priority. I've had to juggle other things. Instead, though, when I do have little breaks and I can do work, then I've been creating some things in real life that I'll use to actually construct the my theme, my idea, which is conceptual and still coming together. And then there's the things I've been collecting. Like, I look across the playa, I see so many interesting original builds, like people are constructing things out of prim, or using their own mesh. But I also see things that are purchased, and then we're working more in like an assemblage sort of way, where we're going through marketplace, going to our favorite builders, finding different items of quality that we like, that we can mod, and that we can integrate into our different camps. But Suze, by the time inspection arrives,
Oh
what
yeah.
you're going to have here, and I'm going to walk you through it,
Mm-hmm.
is the unknown tragicomedy club.
The Unknown
And
Treasure Comedy Club because.
the very first thing when the new title for the Great Unknown, this year's theme, um, when it was first released, I certainly took a deep dive into, just kind of letting different things wash over me, in terms of, how did I want to approach my relationship with the theme? Of course, we could just go completely different directions, but I like to sometimes, try to let the theme influence me, kind of collaborate with it, and but also kind of capture the zeitgeist of wherever I am. And I don't know if you remember this character when you were growing up. If you watched any television, if you watched the Gong Show,
Hmm.
in particular out of the '70s, it was a show where performers would come on and they were really rotten, and they would try to survive getting gonged and tossed off the
I
show.
remember the Gong Show.
You remember the Gong Show?
Oh
Okay.
yeah.
One of the persons that used to come on, a performer, a comedian, he was known as the Unknown Comic.
I
Do
remember
you
that
remember him?
guy. Bag on his
Yeah,
head.
and he always wore a bag on his head, and he had all these great bits that went along with it. And when I heard the unknown, I couldn't escape this idea of the unknown comic. And So I decided to base my sim around that idea, but I wanted to go a little deeper. It's been a real, you know, I'm a bit of a philosopher. I'm definitely a conceptual artist first, where I think ideas sort of drive my builds and my
Well,
endeavors in
on top
world.
of that, I think you're also a physical artist, if I'm correct, either
Hmm.
by profession or by hobby. So, what is that
I have
like? Using Second Life and taking your art concepts
it's
or
a
training.
yeah, well, it opens up, the physics of this world. Even when, I was around studying photography when the first versions of Photoshop started being introduced.
Okay.
So when you go from an analog dark room to a digital dark room, you get some advantages. You get tremendous opportunities, tremendous control. You get command Z's, which means undos, which means limitless variation, and limitless palette. So there's a real liberation there, but physical materials also have a presence. The digital tools can mimic those, recreate those, even mimic some of the happy accidents. Those can occur in the digital world too. But there's something about working with material, um, and then learning about material and interfacing material, that keeps you honest, keeps you a little grounded, I think, and tells you, creates opportunities for in-world. So because he wore this paper bag on his head, that's become a real central. The club itself, the main complex, will be a huge paper bag now, and that would be a tough project for me to pull off in RL, but I'm going to pull it off for BURN2.
Mm.
And it's going to be of scale, and it's going to have all the characters of a huge brown paper bag and more. Because in Second Life, the physics here and the ability here is going to let me do that. So I'm also creating masks, hopefully masks that will be available as my gifts all throughout my plot, and all throughout this club, that will be different expressions on every face. So even though the Unknown Comics mask was just a couple eyes, these masks will be a bit more um, beautiful and frightening and funny, I hope. But I'm cranking those out in the physical world, but I'll bring them into the world through prims and make them wearable. And that's really going to be a fun part of the project, I think.
Mm. Yeah, wearable bags on our heads. Can we?
Mhm.
Are you gonna have a gong?
Yeah, I'm definitely letting the aesthetic of the game show and the 70s kind of influence, I think, how the
Oh,
ultimate club
cool.
is going to come together. But once I really dig into the club, it'll be more like, how do I, the Playa will speak to that, so I don't have the hardest vision, but I've gathered some things from some of my favorite builders, and along with the textures, and some of the FX,
Mm-hmm.
and animated textures that I'm creating and lighting. It'll be a fun concept. The idea of the tragicomedy. I think we've all been kind of living through one myself,
Mm-hmm.
and there's the unknown and the known are as interesting to sort of examine with art, as
Yeah,
is
it's great. It's a
tragedy
great
and
theme, isn't
and
it?
yeah, and tragedy and drama. When you set out on a quest, when you set out on any endeavor, the great tales of our from all of our wisdom traditions around the world. There is this idea of the tragic epic journey. Um, and then there's comedy too. And some stories, the comedy and tragedy are so interrelated. Comedy and drama, the classic definition of what some scholars, who are trying to really nail down what is tragicomedy. It was that serious action with a happy ending, and I thought that was a great kind of subtitle. Except I changed happy ending to joyful ending because I thought, okay, we got to be cautious with that one. But
Mm-hmm.
the Unknown Tragedy Club is that, you know, you set out and it's actually been a very serious story on so many levels this year. But in the long run, we hope that we can look back at even the most intense tragedies and laugh at them, you
Hmm.
know, and see the humor and the folly in this life. And so a tragicomedy club is a unique thing. I've never heard of a tragicomedy club. So I'm excited to try to conceptualize that here on the Playa for BURN2 this year.
It's going to be an interesting build. I can
Yeah,
tell. Lots
yeah,
and
I
lots of
think.
thought.
Hmm.
Yeah, you're also a performance DJ, and
Hmm.
so are you going to have some events happening here? Maybe some DJing on your at your club, your camp club.
Absolutely. I've done it. I did a couple daring things. I reached out to some folks in world who I know actually do comedy and do comedy readings and do also like live stand-up comedy. I haven't nailed anybody down yet, and that's okay. But just as an interesting intention, I'm putting that out there to try to organize some comedic readings or
That'd be great.
yeah, or even some open mic styled stand-up comedy. I even put a call out as my avatar out on the real world Burning Man and said, do people do comedy out there? Like I haven't seen one. And I got feedback. I've got a lot. I think I will probably do a bit during the burn where I read the comments and answers I
Oh
got
yeah,
from
there's
people.
comedy.
Some of it was comedy, some of it was people who think they're funny, you know, and
Yeah.
uh, you know, but that's the beauty of it. There's a tension around this art form, and it's not something I see really represented. I mean, there's humor, but it's more spontaneous, right? It's more organic. But like the real performative, you know, comedy and comic is quite a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
The aha moment and the haha moment are very close, and so to get that kind of spontaneity out of folks, to get that electricity that just makes a laugh bubble up and out of you is a real art
Hmm.
form. So I'm hoping
Oh yeah.
to have some acts that qualify as like really straight up comedy, but
Yeah,
I've
there's
also
Second
began.
Life comedy. Sorry to cut in. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
no, no, please.
I don't want to
Yeah,
interrupt you, but there's like Second Life comedy as well. There's a lot of comedians
yeah,
on
for
Second Life,
sure. Yeah,
and they might be
I reached
interested.
out to folks.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah.
So after, you know, maybe aside, if you know folks, you can shoot me a note card of
I'm
some folks
thinking.
who
I
might
don't
be
know if I
interested
do
in taking the
actually.
stage. Yeah, I mean
Yeah,
they're far and few between, but it's out there
yeah.
for sure. You know, I was attending a pretty regular comedy hour that was going on, you know, last
Mm.
year, but COVID kind of broke it up, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm waiting for the gentleman who really is the energy behind it. I reached out to him, but I haven't heard back. The second level is for sure there'll be music, there'll be some performance, and I'll probably myself and the other DJs that I'm inviting to perform at the Unknown Tragic Comedy Club. I'm going to ask them to design sets that are funny, you know, or explore the idea of tragedy and comedy, and in their music, how in their representation. So I think there'll be some laughs. I think there'll be some philosophy.
And it'll be
Um,
a challenge for a comedian too.
Absolutely.
You know,
You know,
tragedy made into comedy is like a fine line, isn't it? So, yeah. Mm, we went mute. I'm gonna find out why.
I'm back.
Oh, okay.
Um, yeah, I mean, comics, good comics. I mean, I feel that's one of the things they do. They're able to take some of the things that are the hardest to deal with, the most tragic to deal with, the hardest to talk about, and actually bring it into the light and laugh at it a bit and liberate ourselves from it a bit, look at it differently, laugh at ourselves.
Hmm.
Um, so you know, it's ambitious, but I think between the musical artists, myself, and you know, and a few acts, that'll be good. I'm on the main stage Friday from 9 until 10,
There's
and I'm
two.
also
There's three stages. So the main stage is a stage. Everybody, just in case you're
yes,
wondering.
yeah. Hmm. And so Friday night, opening night, I'll be on the main stage for an hour,
Great.
bringing some, you know, Shine
You're
On by
great.
DJ Shiny,
You're
some
a great
music,
DJ. Oh, really,
and
really fun.
and I'm also going to do a hour, I think on the at the close of the burn, at the fashionista stage, which I'm really looking forward to also.
Great. Really
Yeah,
cool. So
yeah.
that's an art camp or a the fashionistas are part of Burn 2, but they also decided to get themselves an art camp, and so they have that beautiful pyramid type build that Herbie, one of the campmates, has designed for fashionistas. Is that where you're going to be?
I believe so. I
Yeah.
believe so. It's whatever their main camp is. They threw a great party last burn with a spring burn,
Mm-hmm.
and I love their parties. I love their show, and then I
Me
love and all the
too.
art they put into it, and then
Mm-hmm.
it's great to party with them when they're burning down. They usually burn down their camp, so it's great to be at their camp when they burn it down.
Yeah, that's Vicky and her crew. So, how did you get involved in Burn Two? Did you come here for this into Second Life for this, or you found us while you were already
I found
here?
it while I joined Second Life because of my interest in the appeal of creating and being in community and virtual worlds. And then, of course, I'm a fairly young avatar compared to many. I'm just going on my fourth year, but it was just, it was so amazing. It opened up so much. I really tried to start exhibiting and, kind of doing some gallery shows. And
Yeah,
then
I
once
saw
I
your
realized,
gallery. You have a gallery.
once I
If anyone wants to find it, just look up Shiny's profile, and it's one of the pics.
Yes, and
Yeah,
come on by and hang out there anytime. It's a very, very beautiful sim, not my own, but it's a beautiful sim with some fantastic objects and things to explore.
yeah,
Really cool stores. The figure behind the sim is very, very talented, has a great history in Second Life. And I have things set up to just kick back and relax and be with the art. So come
yeah.
anytime and hang out as long as you like.
It's a nice space.
The the Yeah, and then as soon as I realized there was a burn, I think my very first year I did a build. It was, maybe it was my second year. I think it was first year, and I've done one ever since, at least one until we
Mm.
started doing 3 burns a year or whatever we're doing now. So now it's a little bit more active. But yeah, and then once I saw that opportunity and the community, I loved it. I just wanted to stay and be a part of it. I think it's great.
Yeah, you're very involved.
Hmm.
And so let's hear about some of the art builds that you've had in the past, because some burners may have gone to visit and did not know that was your build.
Yeah, the
And
last
you have
two
a build
builds
partner too. So
I did in the last two. This time we're both doing our own projects. So she is over at Swadana, um, building, which we did together a couple years or in the very beginning. But she was really the tour de force on that, and I was at the best sort of a cheerleader for most of it. But I performed and offered some things. Then the following two we
do
built.
you want to keep the name private? Your art.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, the next two projects were a lot more collaborative, and we did the Camp Swadana Mime Bubble Academy, which was down in the corner of Anarchy, and was a really fun project, kind of based on mime troops. And we had this crazy series of orbs that you could ride and bounce on and click on and turn the place into just this big popcorn of moving color and shapes.
Yeah, that
Um,
was great.
yeah. And then after that, we did Sector 22, which was a floating, when we were in the sky, it was a floating kiosk, a comic book store and kind of bodega for magazines and newspapers and comic books. And we created a few original titles and had those as gifts from the store.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're here at the this burn, and I'm going for the Unknown Tragicomedy Club. That's the goal. I have a lot of work to do tonight, even. So as soon as we're done here, I'm going straight into some some chores. And
I see that you're next to Lamplighters and Center Camp, which makes it easier to find your art installation next to
I'm absolutely,
Center Camp and
yeah.
Lamplighters.
I was like, wow, I'm right down by, the first kind of landing points and right by those two folks, and the gifts are around the corner. So I definitely want to make something that is visually really stunning for folks and interesting too. I mean, I like beautiful art. I love things that are, uh, I appreciate the aesthetic level, but I like that other level where things are they're interesting. you know,
Yeah.
they make there's a little concept, there's a little bit of thought, there's a little bit of kind of interface and some contemplation. So work to do. I want to make sure that people come around the corner and laugh and also feel into some of this that
You
the
got a
idea of
great
the
you got great
a masked
Playa
comic.
real estate,
Yeah, for sure.
really close to
In
the gate.
Second Life, we were talking about different names, if we should say names or not. There's
Oh,
this
I was thinking
level of,
about your artist in Second Life, a co-artist, but I didn't
yeah,
want
yeah,
to. You
but
haven't
no,
mentioned
for
her name.
sure. Yeah, yeah. But what I was saying was that we often, in Second Life, as avatars, we are sometimes there is this veil between real life and Second
Oh,
Life.
many,
Some
many
some people
like
don't
that.
like that designation at all, but in any case, there's a spectrum of how people negotiate that. And this particular mass club of the unknown tragic comedy club is also about that a little bit.
Okay.
It's about that veiling, and that means it's also just about self. We all are wearing at different levels, um, different roles kind of help us have different masks, or require us to have different masks. And sometimes our own insecurities or growth or self-knowledge uh, requires us to have different masks. And some people just enjoy the fantasy of we could contain multitudes, right? So we like to have many, many versions and fantasy levels of ourselves. And that can help us get to know ourselves better. But the
Hmm.
unknown tragic comedy club is on a level is about that too. And we'll see if I can take all of that concept and kind of put it into the feel of the build in the camp. I hope so.
Oh yeah, very cool. I think that's gonna be great for burners who are new, who are BlackRock burners, or other regional
Mm-hmm.
burners coming over to check out our virtual burn. Will really enjoy exploring that because they're going to have to decide if they want to be like behind a veil, or if they're like, hey, I'm Joe Schmo from so and so camp. I camp with so and so village, and this is how you get a hold of me. And some black rock burners have already been doing it, sort of that kind of a model uh,
Yeah,
of identity, and some are preferring to not share their name or want their outside um friends or identity to mix. They're quite sure about that. So I think it's interesting how we have that. We have oppor- the option to do one or the other, to be
totally.
known. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm a more of
yeah,
a I'm a more of an open book. I have a picture on my
yeah,
profile of
yeah, yeah.
myself, and
Mm-hmm.
hopefully no one will come knocking on my door. Somebody I don't know. I
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
think so.
And there's a lot of different levels of why we do that, and
Sure.
and I think and it's everyone's own prerogative. But I think hopefully the build just helps folks, especially if they're new, start to realize the freedom in it, but also ask some questions about that too. You know what I mean? There's like a way that coming in and masking up, I hope will just take that to another level.
Mm. Now you've collaborated, like we are saying. What's it like to collaborate as an artist in BURN2 and in Second Life? Is it easy to collaborate, and especially on the Playa? Have you found that?
And, yeah, I mean, overall, I'm a good collab. I think I collaborate well. Um, and on the playa, I've also found massive collaboration between folks and massive support and collaboration from the volunteers who kind of make up the infrastructure. um, and it all ebbs and flows. And collaboration, it's chemistry. And so it is skill. If the more you collaborate, the more you learn how to deliver and offer and receive, in those processes. So that's one cool thing about burn is if you do have some of that, you get stronger in that way. And
Mm-hmm.
but there is no yes, absolutely, it's easy. It always depends.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
know,
Yeah.
you might be in
Might be
situations
just
where
like in real life.
yeah, I mean, sometimes there's just people have different visions and they have different aspirations or um, different things going on in their lives, and it can be a struggle. It doesn't mean it's impossible, but sometimes out of that struggle, really cool work can emerge. Other times, it can collapse a project. Um, but I think when you go in and you're going to be in a collaborative environment, you need to set some intentions inside to see it through and be aware of others and advocate for yourself but be of service and keep that all in perspective. Keep your ego out of it and,
Yeah.
and move things forward. But a lot of great projects, especially things out, it takes a village, right? So almost everything we're facing in life, nothing is done really as a solo affair. It takes so many of us to really pull off life. So it's good to acknowledge that. And these little projects can just magnify how true that is, at times.
Right. And just like in physical, you have to get to know the other person, and you have to give and take. It's a builder's. It's a collective relationship. You have to mix two styles. Excuse me. Let me get some water here. And everything that you would expect in collaborating with an artist in
That's
the
right.
physical.
Absolutely. Oh, there's nothing there, there's nothing different.
Except it doesn't
It's
cost as
all,
much. So
yeah, I mean,
the thing about
everything's right
money
there in
is
terms of
nice.
interpersonal challenges. Yeah.
The interpersonal, but the thing that is cool is you can make these amazing, elaborate, high detail art pieces, and you're not fundraising for a huge, art grant or uh, doing a whole fundraising campaign on top of the artwork. So I like that.
Yeah. Yeah. There's,
You
there's
can,
a accessibility. It's great that Burn provides that, for us and,
yeah,
each time so we can get some plot for those of us who don't own our own sims or don't have a lot of room to do those things. This is an opportunity where we can imagine some bigger, more complex projects and see them through. I have about 5 more minutes, Susan,
yeah.
and
I think we're
I've got to
really
switch up.
close to the end, and
Yeah,
I've
cool,
been
cool. If we're there,
panning
yeah.
out through Gerlach the whole time, looking
Yeah.
at our office right now.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, this has been really cool. I'm so excited to. I can't wait to see what you put down, and you've got till the 6th, by the way. I think it's the
Oh, thank
6th
you.
that
Yeah,
we
that's right. Yep. I got
to
to the
plop
six,
it down.
six, sometimes late that evening, and that'll be that. But I'll pull
Yeah,
it off.
I'm sure.
I'm
Yeah.
pretty, I'm pretty confident. I just got to get moving, get some momentum.
So
I've got
let's
a lot of
summarize.
pieces. Go ahead.
I was going to say, let's summarize. You're going to be on the stage for 1 hour, and give us those
Mhm.
times again. Friday, I believe it was.
Friday 9 till 10,
Yeah.
and then Sunday
The
is
fashionistas.
fashionistas, but I'm not recalling the time right offhand. But if you look at the schedule,
Yeah.
it'll show you
And
there for sure.
there'll be a fashionistas, probably a poster or a board up at their camp. And then if anyone wants to join the Burning Man 2.0 group, by doing that, you're going to get announcements through a local and quick chat, I guess I'll call it. So you'll see the announcements from our stage hosts pop up.
Yes.
So it's worth it to
Yeah.
join.
Yeah. Absolutely.
All
We'll see.
right.
Maybe when we get it all, when it's all up and going, we'll sit back in the new camp and we'll go, oh my God,
Yeah.
I see what you were saying now. I had no idea what you were talking about that day,
I
but
kind of have an
now,
idea. Tragic comedy and the comedian from the Gong Show was your
yeah,
inspiration.
you got it, you got it. That's absolutely right. I really appreciate you speaking with me, and I just want to say to all the burners out there, RL or SL, burn on. And if you're new to Second Life and coming from the RL for the first time to try this, be patient with the tools, be patient with loading. There's a little steep kind of learning curve, but once you get past it, there's just a great freedom. So just be patient and enjoy, and just know there's going to be so many people ready to help you
Yeah.
with that stuff. So just be patient and be kind. Be respectful of the effort that people have made to create in this world, and the whole world will open up for you. Absolutely.
Well said, Shiny. Well said. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
And I wish you a very happy burn, and we'll see you soon on the playa.
Thanks,
All
Suze.
right.
Be well.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye for now.